have the power. I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make a break the power, break the power.
Hello, you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast. I am, and this is Matt Bergman. And
it's podcast number 41.
It's podcast number 41, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman.
Yo.
And yeah, we're just hanging out.
It's just us two bros.
Yeah.
Broing out.
Totally.
So Matt, are you buying a Powerball ticket?
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's like, I don't want to contribute to the coffers of the state, but it'd also be really fucking cool to win $1 billion.
Yeah, and then
or whatever it is after taxes.
Yeah, like I'd never ever buy a lottery ticket.
Dude, I've never bought one in my whole life.
You know, I don't think I've actually went into the store and got one. I think I had like my old roommate pick me up someone once or twice or something.
Yeah.
You know, when something was going really big.
Right.
But yeah, I've never like went into a store and bought one. And I don't know. It's just it's kind of like the whole romantic idea of what would you do if you won the lottery.
Yeah. So what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I would work on punkrocklibertarians.com full time. Yeah. You know. So I'm already putting in a bunch of hours, but the difference is I'd get to, quit my day job and just do it full time.
Right.
That's honestly, it's probably my favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then it's like, I'd, probably move, who knows where to move to, maybe have a New Hampshire home.
Right. Get up in that free state.
Yeah. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd probably do New Hampshire and then somewhere on the beach.
Somewhere warm, a little summer home.
Yeah. No, you talked about Texas earlier. Now, there's beachfront property, or not beachfront property. Well, I guess there would be, right?
I'm not too sure.
How does? Well, there is Gulf front property, right? Like the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyways, yeah. But yeah, man. Dude, we could build like a super nice podcast studio.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast.
We could really do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast is something I do for fun, and it's fun. It's awesome. I think first and foremost, though, I like the whole like article aspect of the website. So that's probably my favorite thing. But I mean, the podcast is definitely fun.
Yeah.
I dig it. I wouldn't want to quit doing that. If anything, I'd want to make it better. Yeah, build a studio.
You could do a podcast every day.
Yeah, I mean, if we had that kind of time, totally, dude.
Yeah.
So you would move in, and we would be life partners, right? Is that what's going on?
Sure, dude.
Yeah.
Why not? I'll mooch.
I was at a party last night at a buddy's house, and he was having he called it a booze exchange.
Yeah.
/ like ugly sweater party.
Okay.
And
a little late for that, but.
Well, I mean, it was kind of cool because it was still like holidays and.
Yeah, I guess it's still holiday time, right?
And Joe got me this awesome quote unquote ugly sweater for Christmas. It's actually a sweatshirt, and it says Husker Du on it, but like the design makes it look like it's actually a sweater.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome. I wore that, and then so basically for the booze exchange, like everybody would go to the party and bring a different bottle of booze. And, there was some just really creative shit. I mean, there was just all sorts of booze there, right?
Yeah.
And then my buddy Ken, he would go around, he would open up a bottle and, okay, who wants some of this? Just a splash, and everybody's got their cups, and he's just putting like a splash of this.
What, you just had like solo cups?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was just walking around, and anybody who, as they cracked open a bottle, anybody who wanted some, would get to try like a splash of this, and it would be like, sake. There was some sort of like alcohol that tasted like chocolate milk.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you like sake?
There was some absinthe there, which I thought tasted pretty fucking nasty, because apparently the stuff you get over here is not real absinthe. It doesn't make you trip balls, of course. But
I don't even know if like the real absinthe actually makes you trip balls.
Yeah, I don't know if it does either, because I haven't done it. But
I've done it, and it didn't. I mean, I didn't drink a whole lot, like I did a shot, but it was like directly from somewhere in fucking Europe. But no, I mean, I didn't. I've heard that's kind of an urban legend. Like, it's supposedly there's like wormwood in it that's supposed to be psychoactive, but it's not a high enough concentration to do anything. But I don't know. I think it's just an overhype thing. And yeah, it doesn't really taste very good in my experience.
Okay, so anyways, back to the party. There's like, a bunch of different types of alcohol. And then I was there and smoking a cigarette out front, and I was just talking to this dude. And then, of course, with me, politics comes up a lot. And
You mean every time?
yeah. So I said some things, and then the guy's like, yeah, I've been getting really into libertarianism, and he's acting like he's telling me about it for the first time, and I'm like, fucking cool, yeah. It's always great to run into somebody like that at a party.
What's libertarianism?
No,
Tell me more.
I was just like, yeah, fuck yeah, man. I was checking my website,
Yeah.
and so yeah, and then we were talking about all sorts of shit from like the presidency to even Texas came up because you mentioned Texas. It made me think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought that it's pretty cool that Texas brings up secession so much. And I also think it's pretty cool that somewhere in Texas there's a district that elected Ron Paul a fuckload of times.
Yeah.
So I think Texas probably isn't that bad. But devil's advocate, Rick Perry is from Texas, so
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some bullshit there, just like any other place you go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about it, and I was telling this dude, if like Texas seceded from the Union, I'd have to see what kind of government they've got going on over there, because I don't know. I'd imagine it would have to be pretty hard for me to dislike it worse than the government we have here.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting to think about.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, what do you think the odds of, I don't know.
The odds of that happening?
Yeah.
Dude, who fucking knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a Texan, I guess it's really none of my business,
Uh-huh.
It's just one of those things that's fun to think about, I mean, what if New Hampshire seceded from the Union? That seems like, they could be less likely to pull it off, or they, because Texas, you've got a lot more land and you've got a lot of stuff going on there.
Right.
So, and whereas New Hampshire's kind of like would be surrounded by the United States. But anyways,
Yeah.
okay, this is all just fun to talk about.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so Gary Johnson has announced that he's running on the Libertarian ticket, or he's going to try and get the nomination for the Libertarian ticket.
so how do you feel about that?
It's awesome. I mean, it's not, I wasn't super surprised by it. I mean, he did it last time, and
Well, I've got a buddy who worked pretty like close with Gary Johnson during the 2012 election, and he's like probably as in the know as you could be, and he wasn't so sure that Johnson was going to do it.
really?
Yeah, he actually would have kept working with Johnson this entire time if he knew for sure Johnson was, or even if he thought that he was, but he wasn't so sure.
Huh.
So I think it was, I'm not sure what pushed his decision. I mean, one way or the other. I'd say on one hand, it's got to be a lot of hard work and a lot of bullshit, and it's got to occupy like a lot of your fucking time,
Right.
But on the other hand, I mean, it did kind of seem like he was setting things up for it with the Our America initiative.
Uh-huh.
And he's got that lawsuit trying to get the Libertarian Party in the debates.
Yeah.
And it's going back to what I would do if I won the lottery. It's like one thing I'd want to do is, I don't just try to figure out ways that I could put capital behind the idea of making a system with either ranked choice voting or with ranked choice voting, you could vote for a third party, and
Yeah.
you wouldn't be quote unquote squandering your vote or whatever, wasting your vote.
Yeah.
Or even just say right now we have like 2 elections, right? And first time you're voting for the your favorite in your party. Second time you're voting for your favorite out of the you're voting right now. So you've got these 2 elections, right? And then second time you're voting for the president or whatever.
Yeah.
And say instead of that you had 3 elections, right? Say you had first you're voting for your party, whatever party you're registered as to for the to nominate the candidate. And then second, you're voting for anybody out of like the hundreds of candidates running, right?
Yeah.
And then third, you're voting for your favorite out of the top 2. And this is just kind of like dumbing it down for people that don't understand ranked choice voting, because a lot of people just don't.
Yeah.
But it's if you did this, you wouldn't be throwing your vote away. And I mean, and quite honestly, like if I almost think that if it got down to just like a Republican and a Democrat, I probably wouldn't even vote for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, especially if they're like it is right now, I wouldn't even feel the need to choose. Probably, I don't know, or maybe I would. Maybe I would find one a little less offensive than the other. Maybe I would, if one's going to let me live a little bit more free.
Yeah.
But I think what this would do is, you would just have more competition. Hence, everybody would be forced to play a little bit better.
Yeah.
And like with ranked choice voting, you'd be doing the same thing. Only like when you vote, you would rank your different choices. So say.
So would that increase the chances of a third party getting elected then?
Yes, of course.
Significantly?
Yes, because here's the thing: a lot of people are scared to vote third party. They might say favor the Green Party, but then they vote Democratic, or they might favor the Republican Party, or they might favor the Libertarian Party, but then they vote Republican, or however it works. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would favor the Libertarian Party, but they voted Democrat for a reason or another. But at any rate, in this way, if you could rank your choices, everybody could pick their favorite, because when you did this, it's basically people would have the balls to vote for third parties. Because no matter what happens, if your first choice doesn't get a majority vote, then your vote automatically goes to your second choice.
Right.
Then your third choice. You know what I mean? And this would just, it's other countries in like Europe and shit do this. It's not like it's rocket science,
Yeah.
And I would have just imagined that it would, bring in more competition, and you get better politicians.
Mm. How do you go about enacting that kind of change to the voting system?
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's the bitch about it is the only people that can make that kind of change would be Democrats and Republicans. And why would they want to screw up why would they want to bring in more competition for them?
Right, exactly.
So that's what sucks about it. So it's like, how do you go about changing that with, it's what Republican or Democrat is going to introduce that legislation. And even if they introduce it, who the fuck is going to vote for it?
Right.
Yeah. Why are they going to want to bust out the duopoly?
Duopoly.
Yep. So yeah, man. With like one thing about Gary Johnson running, it's like, I was getting kind of frustrated waiting, because you have all these other you have all these Republican and Democratic debates going on, and people talking politics, blah blah blah. And I felt like that was a lot of opportunity for a libertarian to be getting interviewed on the news and shit,
right?
And speaking their part, and And I feel like we missed some time with that because he waited so late. Like, I feel like he should have announced it before. He could have built up a little more momentum.
But were there not? I mean, aside from like the fake candidates like Austin Peterson and John McAfee, have there been like other candidates, and they just haven't been vocal enough about it? Like, why does it fall on Gary Johnson to do that?
Why does it fall on Johnson? I mean, I think a lot of people were waiting for Johnson to do that. And I think, Johnson is, one cool thing about Johnson is he has experience in a leadership role. He was the governor of New Mexico, twice.
Yeah.
And he was elected as a Republican in a state that normally votes Democratic. And then he was reelected by a higher margin than he was initially put in there for. So in this Democratic state, they liked him so much. They liked him more after experiencing him, for a term. They liked him enough to reelect him. So, I think that says a lot. I think he's got, he's just got that leadership experience. Barack Obama didn't have that in 2012, like a lot of people didn't.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, I think he's a good person to speak it. I would imagine he's going to get the nomination unless like John McAfee wins a lot of people over with some sort of stunt or something. It's pretty funny because that article that was going viral this week where John McAfee posted on his Facebook page that Morgan Freeman would be going for the Libertarian nomination with Vin Diesel as his vice president.
Wait, the Vin Diesel? I didn't.
Yes.
I didn't read the Vin Diesel part.
You didn't click on the article, dude?
No.
Okay.
I read the headline. Sorry.
Wow, dude. You're everything that's wrong with the internet.
I know.
Did you comment on it, dude?
No, see, I won't do that. If I don't read the article, I don't comment.
So at any rate, so basically McAfee, I believe this was Wednesday night. He said this on Facebook and he sponsored the post. If this is
Sponsored the post.
If this is McAfee's Facebook page, I'm assuming it is because I mean from what I saw, it is there's like 11,000 people on there and it's the largest John McAfee page on Facebook, so it looks to be the most legit.
Yeah.
One thing about it is it's basically his name on there is spelled MC lowercase a and it should be uppercase A. Right. So, but maybe that's some sort of Facebook like name thing that they won't let him do. I mean, who knows?
Maybe he was just drunk as fuck when he made his profile.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's all speculation. You know, we weren't the only website to report on it. We were one of the first though.
So did you just see the post come up and you instantly just type up an article?
Yes. I saw the post and right
laughed
away,
your
I'm
ass
like,
off for a little bit.
Well, yeah, right away I'm like, what the fuck? And then so I just reported on the post. I didn't report that that I knew officially that Morgan Freeman's going to run. I reported what John McAfee said. John McAfee said this. You know?
Have you? Did you look up after the fact and see if like Morgan Freeman had said anything or Vin Diesel?
I looked it up before I wrote the article. Actually, I couldn't find anything. All I could find is John McAfee saying it. Which I mean, it's still interesting as shit. You know,
it's still yeah.
And
it's a good
it
story.
would be. It's kind of cool to think about because I mean, if you could get somebody, I'm not sure how libertarian Morgan Freeman is.
I've seen some like those like quote picture things. I've seen a few of those. I think from him.
So that could be something that he did or didn't say.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying like there might be something out there. I don't know, but I don't know. He's a cool guy. So.
Yeah,
he's got
totally.
that going for him.
Exactly. So I mean, if he was about libertarian ideals, and if he wanted to run, I think it would work out great. You know.
Yeah.
I think you could possibly get a lot of people into those ideas. That would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, but if that's gonna happen, I mean, dude, I have no idea. I mean, it would be nice, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why he would post that if he didn't. I mean, maybe he's just high on coke. Who knows?
Well, I wonder if that is even John McAfee's page.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. You know,
it seems weird that somebody would post that and then pay to sponsor it. I mean, I guess if they just wanted to start a rumor, but it seems like kind of a silly rumor to start.
Yeah,
and, like,
I mean,
invest
I was
money
thinking
into.
about that too. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. You could think of a lot better shit to do. But that's cool. So Obama recently went on TV, shedding tears, and supposedly enacting some executive orders for gun control. But when you actually look at it, he didn't really do an executive order because the things he proposed were already in place. He just wants it to be stricter, and he wants to hire more ATF. I think the figure was 200 more ATF agents to enforce things like mandated licensing and background checks. And I think he wants to like clamp down on people that are posing as private vendors that aren't actually private.
You know, well, the funny thing is, in the last 3 years, federal prosecution of handgun charges have actually went down to, I believe it's out of every 100 people that are charged, they only actually they really actually go for it like 1% of the time or something. So they're not going after the laws that are already on the books even, and now he wants to expand them.
Yeah.
So it's basically, and they've been going down percentage-wise throughout the past 3 years from what, according to what Ben Swan said.
Really?
And yeah, so it's basically like right there. And, it's funny too, in his speech, like he cites Chicago, and it's like Chicago already has a shitload of gun control, asshole. You should know you're from there.
Yeah.
And, oh, whoa, it didn't solve the problem. Surprise.
Surprise.
Yep.
So do you think he was actually crying for reals?
He was probably tears of joy that he was going to get to impose some executive orders, some more executive orders. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
knows?
it's dude. I mean, like he's from a state where they've already got the strictest gun control in the country, and then so I mean, what makes you think if it doesn't work there, if they've still got more murders than all these other states that have less gun control?
Yeah.
Why does he think if it doesn't work there, it's going to work in other places?
Right.
So I mean, it's I don't know. It just seems to be pretty fucking ridiculous. I feel. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like maybe I have too much of a low tolerance for discussing the gun control shit because it's just, I just don't see any argument for it.
Yeah. I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there. All right. Well. All right. Let's switch on over to the BLM Bundy Hammond situation that's still ongoing. So, I don't know. I've seen, whenever something happens like that, you always see like the left coming out and saying a bunch of shit. I mean, it's a pretty easy target because they're all kind of like, yokels from the South, ranchers, people that, tend to not be very well educated in some cases. I think there's some evidence of some of them being racist.
I mean, can you say the same things about some people from Black Lives Matter?
Sure.
I mean, and it's not to talk any shit about Black Lives Matter. What I'm talking shit on is just generalizing. Like, it's fucking bullshit, dude. Because, like, the left are going to generalize these guys as, like, inbred rednecks,
Right.
I mean, but then the right are going to generalize Black Lives Matter as a bunch of little thugs.
Yeah.
When, I mean, all the while, I mean, there's going to be, like, awesome people and bad people and educated people and uneducated people and all these crowds. There's going to be all sorts of different types of people.
Right. Like, the fact that the Bundys had some some ties to white supremacy or something. What does that have to do with the thousand other people that are taking part in this protest? Are they all racist? Like how can you paint all of them in that broad a brushstroke?
Yeah, I mean,
and then the same thing goes for BLM. I mean, there's some people in there that are probably racist towards white people or have some other character deficiency, but I mean that doesn't mean we can say they're all.
There's no doubt people in both groups that have quote unquote character deficiencies.
Yeah.
And character deficiencies are going to be relative according to who you talk to.
Sure.
I mean, and one thing that I find like totally fucking hilarious, sad, retarded, I don't know, all those things, is I see all these lefties posting like, oh, the government should just go in with guns, and it's like, oh, really? Why? And it's like didn't say this about Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
It's if anything, you had some you might hear some like crazy right wing racists say it about Black Lives Matter, but it's basically. But I'm seeing like articles like all over like fucking Facebook and shit about how the Fed should just go in with violence and shit. And then I also saw, like I guess people that lean to the right, they were pointing out like, hey, and they had a valid point that like the BLM protesters aren't looting, they aren't destroying any property.
Yeah.
And they took this place over on a day when it was closed, so there wouldn't be any violence.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
and I've heard them state on video, a few of them saying, we have no intention of initiating force, but if force is initiated on us, we will respond.
Yeah, I mean, it's ballsy, dude. I mean, it might be the best kind of protesting. Yeah. I mean, because they went in there with a plan. They're not
technically because it's government property. That is not initiating force, right?
But I mean, I don't think. Well, dude, what is government property? There is no such thing as government. There is no such thing as government. It's all in your head. It's in my head. It's in every. You've got people that claim to be government.
Right.
But what is government? It's not a tangible thing that you can touch.
Right.
If anything, it's just the threat of force.
Right. Yeah. So any supposed property that the supposed government has is just property that was acquired through theft.
Okay, I mean you could say it's public property, dude, because it is public property, and a lot of these guys are paying taxes, probably a lot of taxes. And some of these guys are taking subsidies too. That's one thing that you could rag on them for. But I mean, you could also just rag on the system for having subsidies in the first place.
Who's taking the ranchers?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's basically the system is kind of set up.
But they kind of have to, or else they can't stay in business.
Exactly, dude. The system's set up to just have everybody sucking on its teat.
Yeah.
To control them, And I read an article the other day. I think it's like 10 or 11 states have like over 40% of the land in the state is owned by the federal government.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like 10 or 11 states.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time. But that's so crazy.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, I just never blame... I don't know. I find it hard to blame even, like, corporations that take handouts, that take, corporate welfare, so to speak, because it's like you can't sustain your business without doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that they've rigged the game.
Yeah.
Like, to control things, And, yeah, it's fucked up.
Anything else on that one?
I don't know. I guess from there, we could talk about how there's been more police charged with murder and manslaughter this year than ever before, or 2015, sorry. And not one cop was actually convicted of those charges.
Really?
Yep.
Not one?
Yeah.
I thought some.
It might have been for another charge, but apparently not for murder, at least.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's some that are still awaiting charges, right? I mean, like with
with
Freddie Gray.
That's just through the year of 2015.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the big cases happened. Like I'm thinking like Freddie Gray, like okay, they had the one trial that they have to do a retrial, right? And then, but then there's still four other cops that they have to try for that.
Yes, something like that.
And then there's the one video where the cop like shot the kid as he was like driving away. Remember that one? Has that guy been brought to trial yet? I mean, I think he's been charged, but I don't think he's.
That nothing's happened with that yet.
I don't know. I think we might get some this year, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. But it's just pretty amazing, man. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. And it's the system totally just divides people. Like if you think about if Black Lives Matter could come together with the rancher people and just like take the power back,
Yeah. And
if those two groups, the right and the left, the main groups in the entire country, could come together on issues of freedom like that, we would live in a freer place. We'd live in a better place.
Yeah. Because they don't see it. The problem is they don't see what the problem is. They don't see. I mean, maybe the ranchers probably see it. I mean, they're interacting directly with the government.
Well,
but they're focused.
Well, I mean, Black Lives Matter sees it too. I mean, they're seeing government, kill people.
Right. They do. But I mean, it's like you never hear them say anything about the government per se. They just say police. It's like they don't even make the connection. I mean, I'm not saying obviously I'm painting with a broad brush here.
Yeah, not all of them.
Totally. You don't hear it. I don't know. It's not like.
I don't personally I don't really even want to pick as to like which group's better than the other.
I'm not making a judgment on that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, because I think they're both important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I would just like to see them unite and like realize like the problem here is government. The problem here is the initiation of force. Like that's the problem. Let's do something about that instead of focusing on the the effects, the symptoms. Let's attack. I say this all the time. Let's go after the root of the problem. Let's, if you spend time dealing with the symptoms, you're not going to stop the cancer that's behind it.
Word.
Yeah. Speaking of, actually, I have no good segue into this, but so El Chapo has once again been arrested, has been captured, and apparently, I don't know a whole lot about it, but apparently, it might have been due to an interview he was conducting with Sean Penn, or rather, Sean Penn was conducting the interview. Why the fuck is Sean Penn conducting interviews?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. He does like to get political, of course.
Yeah.
So
Is he liberal? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, he is extremely liberal. Wasn't he in weren't they making fun of him in Team America War Police?
Were they?
I believe he was one of the actors there.
I need to rewatch that film.
Yeah,
It's been too long.
I haven't seen that in a minute. But
I mean, what do you think about El Chapo? I mean, El Chapo wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the drug war, obviously.
oh, of course.
And I'm sure he's, probably murdered people, so he probably deserves to be jailed for that. But
Well, El Chapo would exist, but I mean, he would exist in a different form.
yeah,
He would exist like the CEO of Budweiser exists.
you think he'd be legit?
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's basically like if somebody robs El Chapo, he's left with no choice but to go after him with men with guns. He can't. He can't call the police to make justice, quote unquote, legally. He's got to create his own justice. That's what drug dealers have to do. Now, and I'm not saying that all drug dealers are angels, but at the same time, I'm pointing out maybe not all of them are assholes. And I'd also say, I'm not saying El Chappie. Yeah, I'm not making any statements about this guy being a good guy or anything.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, he's done some pretty grotesque shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, you can't say the same thing about the Budweiser CEO. It's if the shit were illegal, you wouldn't have all the violence. Prohibition creates all the violence.
Right. I guess I'm more saying you wouldn't have someone. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess someone like that would probably find their way into a legit business, and if there was no option for a black market business.
Yep.
So.
Okay. So sounds good. And until next time, live free.
The blood that is shed, drenching the flags on the tax bombs in red. Poisoned by a few at the expense of the many. Sold to the gods and the death machine. You can't justify killing by economic gain. For God, country, and democracy, you can put freedom and gunpoint in a foreign land. You support the troops, then bring them home. I believe that you will do the best for you. And I believe that we have the power, I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make the break the power. Society owes individuals nothing more than non-interference with natural rights. Once a virtuous person fully comprehends the non-aggression principle, the violence of the state becomes obsolete.